This is the full story of how I built an online business, particularly a coaching business, to about $150,000 to $200,000 every single month. And I'm actually going to show you the numbers real quick just to prove that we actually do that amount of money. You can see, hopping into my computer here, over on Stripe, which is our debit and credit payments. It's towards the middle of the day here. It's actually a really slow day today, which is funny because most marketers wait until they have a big day to flex it. But we've had a pretty decent week. This is 36,000 this week, plus past 7 days, another 30,000 from other payment methods. So this is PayPal, this is credit or debit. 30,000 the week before. Go ahead and show you all time, Stripe plus PayPal. We are just over, I think 2.2 million total in sales. And so, yeah, pretty solid little business. Pretty content with the numbers and where we're at right now. So now I want to tell you the story of how I did this because I'm going to be honest. It was very hard and it took me a long time. And if you want to replicate my results, then you have to go through a lot of trial and error. So let's talk about it. So first of all, just very humbly, I know that I'm actually quite small when it comes to the business space in general. I think a lot of people probably my age, 18, 20, 22, probably mid to late 20s even, will probably see these numbers and gloat over them almost and almost see them as pretty big. But I want to start this video by saying my personal standard is significantly above the numbers that my business brings in, okay? And I legitimately consider myself broke. And the reason I start there is because I think it's really easy to see these numbers and almost put them on a pedestal. And when you put them on a pedestal, you push it out further away from yourself as if you'll never be able to do it. And I remember watching videos like this and they always really inspired me. And I want to let you know and just hopefully speak into your mindset in your life here and tell you, it's really not that separate from you. I think anybody can do it, and that's why I'm in the business that I'm in, is helping other people grow their businesses, is because I just genuinely think anybody can do it. If I can do it, then I really think anybody can. And so this video is by no means a showboat. It's really just giving you the full story and the lessons that I learned along the way, and hopefully by the end of the video you have enough value from this video that you see your own path ahead of you, and you can start to replicate some of the lessons that I've learned and replicate some of the results that I've gotten because of those lessons and grow your business faster or even start your own. So let's get into it. Let's talk about my full story. About 4 years ago, I was in a position to, start my own business because, my parents, I was actually essentially homeschooled, if not even unschooled. So I never really got a traditional education. And really why that's of massive benefit to me is because I had the wherewithal in my own personality to just do my own self-study. So you can see this shelf of books back here. This is maybe even a third, maybe a quarter of the actual books that I've read. And I just read a lot of books, and I spent a lot of time learning a lot about just anything. Even when I was 13 or 14, I built my own computer and I just went online and figured out how to do that. I taught myself how to code Java because I was really into Minecraft and I wanted to make mods for Minecraft. And so I've always just been a self-learner, right? And I always just figured out how to do things on my own. It's just been a part of my personality, and I think if I have a form of privilege, it's the home environment that I had in that it was very encouraged for me to be that self-learner. And it's Jim Rohn's quote, right? An academic education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. And I really believe that. And so, from a young age, I've really devoted myself to learning. And so if you're watching this video and you're oh, I'm not a self-learner, well, you can become one. You can start reading, you can start soaking up information, and it's honestly not only not that hard, but it's actually really fun once you realize how much there is to understand about the world and how much there is to understand about business and how much further there is to go than you might realize right now. So anyway, fast forward to when I was 17 or 18, I was actually a photographer, and so I would do weddings and portrait work. And here's some of my photos, even if you're curious about those. And I did about $2,000 or $3,000 a month just shooting gigs on the side when I was 17 or 18, which is pretty decent. It's about the same amount of money that somebody doing landscaping work would do or something, which is actually ironically what my brother does, which is really cool. And then what happened was my whole family went through a house fire. And this is where my story gets really dark. This is where if I wanted to, I could just get into a whole sob story. But it was very pivotal, and I don't like pulling back a lot of those details just because I think a lot of people don't really care. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think really people are here to soak up my sob story, because at the end of the day, oh boo-hoo, I make $200,000 a month, woe is me, right? But I went through a really dark season where I was forced to come to terms with a lot of my capabilities of bringing something to the table for my family. And granted, my family never needed it, but I just hated seeing my family go through something. And so I just decided at that point, not just financially, but in terms of my personal development as a man, to start taking life more seriously. Like I started getting up early, I started going to the gym, I surrounded myself with better people, I started studying business, and I just made it a focus to start working on myself. And even just the transformation from like where I was then to where I am now, not just in business but as a person, is like insane. I look back at some of the things I did at that point and I like cringe, which to me is like a really good sign. But in particular for the business, when we went through the house fire, I lost all my photography gear, obviously, because it was either soaking wet or burned. And so mostly actually soaking wet. Most of it was soaking wet from the fire hose and stuff. And so lost a lot of my gear. Also had to refund like over $10,000 worth of like wedding contracts because the business was just starting to pick up. And so I was not just broke, but I was like less than broke because at the time, I could have rented gear, but you don't think about these things in the moment. Like, and also I wasn't experienced enough to know that I could rent gear. So I was just like, oh no, I don't have gear. I should just not shoot weddings. And plus my family was going through a lot of stress, and so I didn't have the space to do it. So I saw this guy, particularly this guy named Taylor Jackson. So if he ever watches my videos, like huge credit to this guy. He has nothing to do with like the, business industry really, but he sells like wedding photography courses. And I was like, man, I could probably do that. And so even though I wasn't making a ton of money, I had like a small niche YouTube channel because I'd always made videos. I made like Minecraft YouTube videos. I made like tech deck videos. The most popular video on my channel today is actually a video of me playing with tech decks, which I think is hilarious. So if you sort my videos by most popular, it's like 8-year-old Trey and his like 10-year-old brother like playing with finger skateboards, and it has like 400,000 views, so it's insane. So I'd always been used to YouTube, so I happened to be making YouTube videos, which I got really lucky about, which is something we teach our clients now, just how to grow your audience, use content to grow your audience and influence people towards working with you. But at the time I didn't really think about that. I wasn't trying to make money. I was just literally just making YouTube videos for fun. But I decided to launch a course, and I did things all the wrong way. So my gosh, I spent so much time building out this program. I overthought it. I didn't talk to anybody about what they would want in the program. I assumed everything. I did everything wrong. Basically, I did everything wrong, and I still made, like, I think it was like, the numbers are shifting in my head, but I know that my best month was about, $8,000 to $10,000 selling this course. And that was like 4 months after making the decision to do it, of consistently growing a YouTube platform and then launching a program. And so finally I had another stream of income coming in besides like random graphic design work and all these little things that I had going on the side. But that's when things really clicked for me. I was making money, and this is, I think, an important pivotal point for you. And again, like the whole point of my YouTube channel, I said this a million times, like whether you work with us or not, I could give a rip. We've got plenty of referrals coming in. YouTube is still kind of just for fun for me, and I love getting messages from people saying that they find value in the content. And so I sell something that helps you do all of this, and that's obvious, and I'm not going to hide that in my back pocket as if you don't know that. But I legitimately did everything the wrong way, and if I had just decided to work with somebody, that one business, the wedding photography coaching business, could very easily have become $1 million business today, and I would have gotten there like a whole 2 years sooner. So one of my biggest regrets was thinking that I needed to make a niche pivot out of photography, but that's what I did. I saw that a lot of people wanted to know how I was marketing this program, so I kind of just got into like marketing coaching. And at that point, my like best month, like just doing like general YouTube digital marketing coaching, I did like 15,000 in a month. So I know I'm skipping over a lot. I bought this $2,000 course that taught you how to sell. Basically, it said, here's how to sell over like Zoom and over the phone and stuff. One of the best investments I've ever made, by the way. So I bought this $2,000 course on how to sell. I did everything it told me to do, and I built my offer and I started serving clients. And I had like 14 clients at my peak. I was doing like one-to-one coaching with these people. And then I started giving them services too. So I went from just coaching to actually like building their funnels and everything like that. And I literally stumbled into having like a marketing agency, right? So then the peak of the marketing agency, I did about $30,000. This is my best month. And so each of these like revenue points, by the way, is like, there's probably like a 8 to 14 month window between each of these revenue points. And there's a lot of little things that I ended up skipping over so much. And the reason why that's important for me to mention that I'm skipping over a lot is because I don't want you to get the sense that it came easy. I don't want you to get that sense. I made a lot of investments back into myself. I read a ton of books. To be honest, I'd say like the first 2 years were pretty much break even because I was taking all that money and putting it back into the business in some form or another, like investing into a new program or buying another set of books or, like traveling to meet somebody that was in the network or going to events or whatever. I was just filling my head with all these concepts and ideas. I had this marketing agency, did about $30,000 a month ish, and I kept a lot of that cash, which is cool. I didn't really know how to manage it. Honestly, I upgraded my lifestyle way too quick. That was when I bought my first Rolex. That was when I got a Jaguar F-Type. That was when I moved out. I got this like penthouse apartment, like $4,000 a month downtown, and I did all these things. And it was fun. It was like fun while it lasted. But what started to happen was I started, and maybe you are familiar with this concept. If you have a service-based business yourself, just like the death spiral of signing more clients, leading to more work, leading to your inability to sign more clients, and it was just a spiral. And so that's when I decided to make a full shift back to coaching. And a lot of the clients I was working with were people who sold their own courses or coaching on their own. It's like, all right, I'm going to stick to for the next, and like I got this advice from a mentor of mine. He said, until you sell $1 million worth of something, you don't know if that niche is viable or not. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to sell $1 million worth of like consulting and coaching on how to start a coaching business, which is like the coaches helping coaches thing, which I totally get. And we're very picky with who we take on at this point, but that is what we do. So we help people start and grow their own coaching businesses, and our clients have earned over $20 million in total sales. So that's the model that we have right now. We've got 2 offers. So we've got one, which we got about 300 people in, and that is just a group coaching program where you get like unlimited one-to-one support. I'm in there really actively helping clients, but I don't do any one-to-one with them. It's mostly our coaches, and it's a large course. And then we've got a higher tier, which is like my direct one-to-one, and my entire team serves you as well. And that's for people trying to get to like $1 million a year. And that's what I do. And I'll be honest, the journey has been like, I wanted to give you an overview of the journey because I don't know, maybe you can pull something from that. To be honest, I'm not sure if you can or can't, but hopefully you can. Now I want to get into some of the key things that I've learned that, you know, if I hadn't gone through the process that I had gone through, I wouldn't have learned them. So let's do that. So the first thing that I learned in this process is this concept of customer focus over competitor focus. And I think it's really easy for somebody who's just getting started. And I get this question a lot. They're like, Trey, like there's it's not hard to track down people that do some version of what I do. And like, I know it doesn't really serve me well to even mention my competition, but like, I don't really care because in my view, we do things in such a different way and in a way that gets better results than anything I see on the market. But anyway, I get this question a lot. People who want to get into an industry, they say, you know, there's a lot of people doing that. Like, how do I stand out in that industry? And my problem with that question is it assumes that in order to make a lot of money that you have to stand out. And I don't agree with that. I honestly think you could do something just slightly better for your customers and still end up making a lot of money. Like, you could take a look at, like, for example, eBay versus Amazon, right? Like, really, they both kind of do the same thing. But the thing is, Amazon had more of a customer focus. They built all this infrastructure and all these, you know, they could ship. I'm just going to draw like a really crappy, you know, semi truck here. They could like ship way faster than eBay could because eBay was a private seller system versus Amazon has their fulfillment by Amazon system, right? Which a lot of people, you know, teach the FBA model online. It's like a very popular like coaching business is to help people start an Amazon business through FBA. But fulfillment by Amazon, right? Whereas eBay has their private fulfillment. You know, if like you sell something on eBay, you have to personally fulfill it. And so Amazon spent billions of dollars developing this system right here, which is ultimately more customer focused because the products would arrive sooner. And so because Amazon was more customer focused as opposed to a competitor focused, as opposed to saying, oh, you know, what's eBay doing that we could do as well? They just said, how do we serve the customer, right? And so if all I do is ensure that my clients are getting incredible results inside of our programs and services, it doesn't really matter if there's other people in the industry. Like it's so frustrating to me to see people like, oh, but Trey, like if I were to start a coaching business, like if I were to start like a marriage coaching business, like aren't there a lot of marriage coaches? Like, yeah, but the thing is, as long as you are serving people well, you're going to continue to make money. It's not a matter of if there's other people in the industry or not. So this is one of the key lessons that I've learned in the journey is like competitors will come and go, but really like they don't even matter. What matters is your client base, your community base. And it's so interesting. Like the people who focus on their customers end up being the people that other people replicate because, other people notice their success. And so if you are just customer focused instead of competitor focused, you will end up being the person that other people copy because you are innovating in a way that, your competitors notice and then they try to mimic. Point B is essentially all that matters is just a few things. So all that matters is A, getting attention. So where do you get attention from? What's your traffic source online? Who's paying attention to you? Why are they paying attention to you? B is making them offers. Okay? Making them offers to buy your stuff or to speak with you about buying your stuff. And then C is ensuring that they get great results. And a lot of people really overcomplicate this simple process. It's just, where do you get your attention from? How are you making them offers to work with you? And how do you ensure that they get incredible results and have a great experience inside of your services or programs? And a lot of people, honestly, it's crazy. If they just do the math, okay, and I know this is mostly theoretical that I'm in the way that I'm speaking here, but if you just get let's say you get 100 attention units, right? Whatever that means. And that leads to, 30 offers being made to these people to buy your thing, and 10% of them, buy, so you get 3 sales, right? And then, you have a 50% success rate with what you do, or preferably higher. Then this right here, these numbers right here are really simple, and it's kind of what we run our business off of, right? And people are gonna be like, oh, why do you only get 50%? Because honestly, dude, when people buy coaching, most do nothing with it, which is kind of sad, but it's just the truth. So the fact that we even have 50% is insane. But it's just very simple. It's if you want to do, $1 million a year, for example, you just have to get good at, $1 million a year. You have to get good at one attention stream. So whether it's paid advertising or YouTube or Facebook organic or whatever, you have to, be able to make an offer in a way that is strong and powerful, that's hard to say no to. And you have to get obsessed with your client experience and making sure that they actually succeed with you. And so, it's so easy to overcomplicate it when you're a beginner into thinking about a million things. And I know that, it's kind of like that idea that when you're good at something and when you understand something, you can simplify it in your own head. It's I don't know, it's like Einstein's quote of you can't understand something until you can explain it to, a 3-year-old. And so maybe you have to go through a season of things feeling and being perceived as complex in order for you to then arrive at the top where they're no longer complex. And maybe that's the season that I've arrived at now. But I don't really think so, because I think when I was in that season of that complexity, I think I wanted things to be hard because I didn't want to accept that. And this is just really digging deep into my subconscious. Things were hard because I didn't want them to be easy, because if they were easy, then I'd have spent my whole life doing things wrong for no reason. And that's a realization I think a lot of entrepreneurs come to at some point, realizing that they've done things wrong for really no real reason other than they just didn't take the time to figure out how to do them right, which is a hard thing to come to terms with. And so when they start to fix their business, what they're really doing is they're almost slapping themselves in the face, right? Because it's I've done it wrong for so long. And sometimes we're more comfortable with things not being the way we want them to be than we are, uncomfortable with not taking the jump from where we are to where we want to get. And so unless we simplify what it means and how to get from where we are right now in our business to where we want to get, then a lot of the time we would just stay right here and not grow things and not work on things because we don't want to admit that we've done it wrong for so long. And so just making sure that you keep your business very, very simple has been extremely helpful for me. Point C is more of a psychological concept of standards over goals. And, this is the thing, is I've heard this quote before that you won't always achieve your goals, but you will fight like hell to maintain your standards. And it's so true, because whatever your goal is, often that goal is almost psychologically separated from you. And so it's a completely separate concept from yourself because it's the goal. And because it's the goal, not the standard, not the thing you're moving towards, to say, I want this versus I'm going to get this, it's two very different things, right? To say I desire this thing, or to think about it obsessively, you're almost putting it on a pedestal and putting it away from yourself. And so this is the advice that for example, dating coaches will give to men. It's a lot of men who have a hard time, for example, getting a good date. It's because they're putting women on such a high pedestal, and the women can almost sense that, and it's extremely unattractive, right? And so in the same way, your business or your career or the life that you were trying to build, I think the world responds in the same way. If you desire it so deeply and you don't identify with it, you desire it, but you don't see it as really a part of your identity, the world will keep it away from you, because business is ultimately a lot of relationships. It's with clients, with team, with whoever. And so if they notice that there's not really a sense of realness to your approach towards the things that you want, and it's not actually a part of you, it's just something that you want, then it won't come to you. And so I had to work really hard to kind of reframe how I view myself to make sure that the things that I desired weren't just things that I desired. They were actually a part of me. So if you can become the sort of a person who deserves the things that you want, then the things that you want will come naturally to you. But by the time that you've become the sort of a person that gets those things, your desire for them will probably have diminished, because, at this point you've grown beyond it. So a lot of the time, the results you're getting are things, you'll always kind of stay in this state of like discontentment. This is why entrepreneurs continue to grow. It's always this constant state of discontentment. So hopefully that concept makes sense and doesn't sound too much like just, manifestation guru weird stuff. Like this is how I really addressed myself. And the final one is this concept of just one offer to one niche, one industry with one channel of traffic and one delivery process. So one, and these are O's is in the letter, the word one, not zeros, is like with the letter. Sorry. And these are O's like for the word one, not zeros, is in the number 0. But anyway, one product, one traffic channel, one delivery process, one, all the way down, keeps your life and your business extremely simple. And not just simple, it's not like it's convenient. It's kind of the only way to do business. If you have all these different moving pieces, all these different ways that people can find you online, and all these different offers and all these different services, and this is what I see, tons of people do this. It's wild to me. They've got like 6 different courses. They got a YouTube channel and a podcast and an Instagram page, and they also have press releases. And they also do like ads, and then they have 6 different team members that all have different jobs in different parts of the businesses, and then they kind of have like 6 different investment ideas going on in the background, the ways that they're storing their cash. Like, it's kind of wild how many moving pieces we let creep into our world. And so once you discover what works, 2 things have to happen. A, you have to scale what works as far as you can take it. And I don't even think I've scaled I think we could be doing $1 million a month, to be honest. I don't think we're even close to the scale capacity of my business. And so I think we will eventually get there. It's just a matter of time and consistency and growing the team wisely and making smart decisions for, about 5 or 6 years, in my view. And so between now and then, it's smart decisions, slow, steady, taking what works and scaling it as far as it can go. And then as you're scaling it, and once you've arrived at the state of scale that you desire, obsessively eliminating unnecessary complexity. So things that don't need to exist in the business. Like recently, I actually churned my team. So I had a lot of people on my team. We got to about 7 people, and I've brought it back down to 3. 3. Yes, 3. I had to think about that for a sec, because I had all these people that were ultimately helpful, but the issue became like, I had a mentor tell me, if you can't sleep at night, like if you stay up at night trying to figure out how to replace the loss, then you probably don't need it. And that was a really interesting perspective shift. So you need to think about your business, the traffic channel, the offer, the delivery process. Like, for example, if our YouTube channel got shut down, that'd be an issue for me. I would stay up at night thinking about how to replace it. Or if, like, for example, my bank account had all the money taken from it, like, I would stay up at night trying to figure out how to replace it. And so there's these certain things that just absolutely are needed, but then there's certain things that just aren't totally needed. So if it doesn't stress you out intensely, the idea of losing something, then it doesn't need to be there, and you need to eliminate it. Otherwise, it's just going to eat attention, and attention is your most valuable asset as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. It's not time. Time is a valuable asset. It's not money. Money's a valuable asset, but really attention is your most valuable asset, which is kind of my last point here. Point E is attention and investing your attention. Investing it more wisely than you invest your money. I think investing your money is wise, sure. Like, you should invest, you should store money away. But investing your attention is so much greater than investing your money. What are you going to choose to focus on today? Who are you going to listen to? What are you going to devote your time to, your attention to, your mental energy to? Are you going to devote it to unnecessary drama in your personal life? Are you going to devote it to politics or, things going on in the world? Are you going to devote it to the problems you're facing and self-loathing inside of those problems and not coming up with solutions? Or are you going to focus it on how to move forward and what next steps you need to take? Are you going to focus it on the relationships that you want to grow deeper? Are you going to focus it on the things that you need to do to get to where you want to get? Are you going to focus it on the work you should be doing right now to grow yourself? Where's your attention going? Like, time is just a prerequisite for attention. Time in of itself is not valuable. Time is like the sun, and attention is like the magnifying glass that channels it into a hot beam that can burn through wood, right? And so attention is really the thing that drives progress. And so investing it is honestly more important than investing money, and because you can make a lot of money if your attention goes in the right place. So anyway, hopefully this has been a valuable video to you. I know it's kind of a little bit all over the place, but to be honest, I just wanted to A, add a little bit of value, B, tell my story, and C, prove that we actually do the numbers that I claim that we do, because I've gotten some messages recently people kind of doubting it, and I totally get it, but we actually do these numbers, and the business is just steadily growing. I mean, you saw the Stripe account, it kind of just is growing like this, and so we're just slowly and steadily growing. And I'm excited for the next 5 to 6 years where things are going to go, and hopefully we can earn your business at some point, and you can work with us and you can get results like our clients. But until then, enjoy the free YouTube content. Again, maybe this is a valuable video, maybe it wasn't. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below and let me know whether you enjoyed it or not, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and by the way, we have a free Facebook group, links in the description. It's invite only, but you can apply using that link, and we'll add a lot more value to you in that group completely for free. Okay, end of the video, goodbye.